everybody who's viewing. Welcome to the Americano in Milano. This is Giovanni Contrada. And on top of all that, this is the Passionate Ones Project. And today, as my guest, I have Jeff Parker. Jeff, how are you?
Fantastic.
Jeff, my first question to you is the same one I ask everybody that I meet, and that is, how do we know each other?
Well,
And you can be as honest
or dishonest as I want to be,
or as obsequious as you want to be.
No, we're members of the same club,
Yeah.
and that's our primary meeting. And sometimes in this club, you don't always like all the members, but I particularly was taken aback by your sense of humor and what have you, and whatever, and we connected and we became friends.
Right.
I mean, so
And
that's what happened.
You're absolutely right. And I think what I'd like to add to that is early on in my journey in this program that shall remain anonymous, I didn't have a place to live. And I believe that you did. And I think you were dating somebody, and you had a space in downtown LA. I believe it was like a garage / den of iniquity / bachelor pad, and you let me stay there.
We like to call that the kitten corral at that point in time, I think.
Yeah, and I just remember being extremely grateful to you for letting me crash there before I could
Good times.
figure out what the hell I was going to do with my
The
life.
part that I think that I would like to add to that was kind of fun is that you were bombing around in my Dodge Polara 500 convertible once in a while, which was
You let
really
me borrow
cool
that,
car.
yeah.
That
It was
a
what
fucking
year was
badass
that?
car.
1969.
69. Dodge Polara 500 convertible.
Dude,
you Mopar fans out there.
Got so many people come up to me
Yeah, that thing
and
was
like, yeah,
bitchin'. That was really cool.
because part of your story is you're like the dynamo of detritus, aren't you?
If I knew what detritus was,
Come on, we've talked about this before. It's your reason d'etre. It's you live for this. I mean,
junk, yeah. I'm like,
well,
I mean, that
some
guy
people's junk is another man's fortune.
Yeah. It's like it's not junk, really. It's junk before I have it, and then once I have it, it turns into gold. So it's like, what is that crap? You want me to take that away for you?
Yeah.
And then, no, you can't. This here is $100. Are you kidding me? Yeah.
I know a little bit about you, but maybe you can just tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, both growing up as well as where you're at right now.
Well, I come from the state of Born to Run, which is New Jersey.
Yeah.
And not a lot of fond memories really there. But, that's where I grew up until I was 19 and I left. So, and that's right. One of my cousins, I have two cousins that were instrumental in my life, got me into a lot of different stuff, which was like fixing stuff up, painting houses. I'd help him work on cars. I ended up going to automotive school, and my dad hated that because he wanted me to be a lawyer. And really the reason why I kind of came west was for automobile racing, hot rods, cars. You'd see it in all the magazines. There was cartoon magazines when I was growing up, and I remember a particular one cartoon magazine where they built a hot rod out of parts from a junkyard, and all this stuff was like they all had California plates on things and everything. So it's like a lot of stories from California.
What year is this?
That was like in '68,
Nice.
like in that time period.
That's when you got to LA? You got to LA in '68?
No, that's when I was like absorbing this information. I was born in '60, so I was 8 years old then, and there's guys. I hung out with a lot of guys that were like maybe 6, 7, 8 years older than me, and they were like hitchhiking, going back and forth. They'd leave all clean cut, come back on a fucking Harley with long hair and a big beard. Like where were you? I was in California, man. I was like, fuck, So, and there's cars out there too, isn't there? And yeah, that's why I'm here.
All right. Okay. The other question I always wanted to ask people is, What have you learned about yourself during the past 11 months about this apocalypse that's going on? It's affected people in different ways. I'm just curious to know. Not so much. Well, actually, what I want to know is what have you learned about yourself? Have you taken anything out of this? And
yeah, for sure. One thing that I would like to say is that it took me a little while to figure out, like, why is everyone so fucking nuts? Like, why is everyone getting so crazy? And then I remembered that they put people in solitary confinement as one of the most ruthless or severe forms of punishment. Mm-hmm. And everybody had been like there. So some people, those that are very, very social, probably reacted more severely to this. I kind of fall in between, and I cheated a lot. Like, I kept going out. I wasn't really like, I wear my mask, and in the beginning I was wearing gloves and stuff like that, and I did that largely because my girl Diana was like, I'm like, can't fucking kill. It's not gonna kill me. No virus is gonna kill me. What do I care? She goes, well, what about other people? What if you get? And I'm like, oh, yeah, there's other people. So then there's that too.
Yeah, that's the bridge that we all had to cross, because I know I had to do the same thing myself. Like, I was like, what the fuck? I'm not going to get this. And even if I do, what's the worst that could possibly happen? And then someone like, I think we were in lockdown in Milan, and the police were like, no, you don't get it. It's not about you, dude. It's about the old people. Because I did a little bit of research, and I realized that fucking Italy is old.
And thank you very much, by the way. You did a post that I showed to a couple people, but I watched a couple times myself from Milan, and it was like when you'd already gone through one kind of severe upswing, and we were just starting to have ours, and you were like, don't worry, this is going to pass.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. That's the first, well, that's the TikTok that, my first one that went viral.
Yeah, and it was awesome, it was really quite...
it's not the apocalypse. The stores are still open.
Brought me down.
I definitely brought out like my my toolbox, my emotional toolbox for that one, because I was beginning to get some followers in America, and they were like, "Oh my God, what the fuck's happening over there? Are you guys all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, the stores are still open. There's fish in this beautiful clean stream all of a sudden." The other thing that I noticed immediately after about just a few days in Milan was how clean the air was.
Yeah.
Because there was no one driving. Yeah. And I don't know if you realize, well, you've been to Europe, so it's all diesel engines there. And it's probably the worst air quality in the world, even though they won't admit it. And so we could see the Alps all the time now.
Wow.
Which was never always the case there. Yeah, interesting. Really cool. So, some people during lockdown seem to have reinvented themselves. Not only just themselves, but also their business paradigm. I know I did. And other people who have been just simply paralyzed with fear and anxiety. And I always like to ask this question, because did you fall on any of that spectrum at all? I mean,
as far as reinventing myself, or
well, were you paralyzed with fear, or did you just go on about business as usual, or did you?
I pretty much went on about business as usual, but it's impossible to not be affected by the overall fear static that was going on around me, and it really affected some of my close friends. They go down the rabbit hole, watching too much TV, too much news, conspiracy theories. Really got sucked into the vortex of fear, and then that kind of has a way of bleeding into others. We're all connected. So, but I didn't. I mean, let's put it this way. I didn't get sucked into the vortex of fear, but I did go out and buy 4 shotguns. It's like, but it's not like
right.
that was just just in case, You know, it's
the
not
shit
like something I
goes down.
thought about a lot.
A lot of people were talking about.
Yeah, a lot of people were talking about it.
It's going to happen.
Like, I'm not going to be, and you know, and I've been talking about it even before that. Because the world is turning into like a weird kind of place with, weird like people just getting out and just start shooting people. And the one that really woke me up isn't COVID related, but the one I think it was in France where they were just walking down the street, just like picking people off, and nobody could shoot back. And it's like, I'm not going to be in that situation. So I'm not going to be in a situation where if somebody like decides that they want to start shooting, I'm not going to be able to shoot back. We're allowed to have guns here, so I got some. And
it is your right.
It's my right. So I did that. I'm all about our rights to do what it is what we do. And what else? How else could I say that affected me?
Well, speaking from a professional level, because I know you're an entrepreneur, did you incorporate any new technologies into like buying, selling, or did you just basically do the same thing you just did? And because I know you use a lot
everything else died. Like the stuff that I typically do, which is like some management properties and thing like poor New Orleans, like was just like vacant and no renters down there. So there was some financial fear that drifted in early in the beginning. It's like, so I went out and I hammered one of my credit cards, pulled out $20,000 so I'd have some money.
Yeah.
Put that in on a like one of those 0% offers that they offer you. So I did that, and then just started posting shit like crazy on Craigslist, like like stuff that's just like stuff that I couldn't fit in my home, that was in my loft. Like personal stuff, cars that I wasn't going to get to, things like that, and just started selling.
Okay.
Everything, just like selling stuff. Just to
so you were motivated, man.
Yeah, I kept busy. I kept myself busy. Wanted to make some money. I wasn't able to make money like I usually made money, and so we just so we made some adjustments. It wasn't like a radical adjustment, really. I was still kind of doing the same thing. It's just the way of how I was merchandising and what exactly I was selling. It was more like personal effects. I wasn't going out and buying and selling stuff. I did a couple.
You were buying less but selling more, probably, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Buying a whole lot less and selling all my stuff that was just here, and just basically selling it for what I could get for it. Really cleaning up.
Just want to take this in another direction, because I think about maybe 3, 4, 6 months ago, maybe a year ago, you were posting some stuff, some music, which is something I didn't know about you.
Really?
I didn't know tell the people what
oh,
you were...
like when I joined the club.
The club. That will remain anonymous.
I'd always kind of wrote poetry, but I wanted a vehicle to carry that, so I just got involved in that. So it's been a number of years that I've been in the club, and I really embraced the idea of pursuing music as an alternate kind of thing. And at one point in time, I threw my whole life into it, and actually, had some little got on MTV in Europe and things like that with one band that we had.
What was the name of the band?
The band was called Paingate, and then
Paingate.
Yeah. Which
you look like a rocker.
It was like a loud rock. They called it loud rock then, and we got offered like a shitty deal. Our lawyer was not. We should have taken that, really, but our lawyer was like a guy that handled major acts, and he was like he wasn't going to be bothered with that amount of money. Anyway, fast forward to now. Some of my dearest friends in the program are still musicians, and some of them still, working musicians. And so I always like to try to gather people together and do a project that's an intimate project. And so we and there's a group of people that I hang with close, and inevitably, no matter when it is together, the songs always seem to come out terribly sad. It's like there's no fucking way to, like I can want to write a rockin' toe tap and whatever, upbeat something, and they just always just find their way into sadness. So we call the act the wrist slitters, because it's like that's a real wrist slitter, meaning like a real sad song. Like that's a real wrist slitter.
Sing me a song, make me cry.
And so, but it was interesting because we got a lot of backlash from primarily very young people.
Suicide prevention.
About the suicide thing, which wrist slitter wasn't. Of course, you associate that with attempted suicide.
Right, exactly.
But it really is like, where's your sense of humor?
Yeah,
exactly. I don't know
what is happening in this world.
I mean, really, you know what I mean? And it was like, it really became a topic of contention with the guys, because I was like, no, we're not fucking changing the name of the band. You know, it's the Wrist Slitters. That's what we started out as, and now the Wrist Slitters is recording its second recording right now. Its second album, what you call it or whatever, record. I don't know what you call them anymore.
I think they call them records still.
Yeah. Our second record. We're working on it right now.
And more upbeat this time, or you're going to continue with the?
It's the Wrist Slitters. So it's really. There's some upbeat
songs
stuff,
about despair and heartache.
Yeah, mostly
it
about
sells.
Relationships.
Did you say relationships?
No, that's your.
That's
word.
My thing. Yeah. Well,
it's
a universal topic.
It's a universal thing. Yeah. So anyway, we're working on it, and it's gonna be. The first one was fantastic. I was not disappointed in it at all, but this next one's gonna kill it.
Interesting. And so, where are you in the process of the recording at the moment?
The writing process, we like to write more than we're going to actually keep.
Okay.
So I think we got maybe, I don't know, over a dozen now.
All right.
We're like chiseling away at.
Throw as much against the wall and see what sticks.
Until we get tired of doing that, and then until we get enough, okay, we got enough that we really like that we'll go with, and then we go with it.
And what is your role in the band?
I sing.
Oh, okay.
Because I can't do anything. I tried to play guitar. Believe me, for like 7 years I tried to play guitar.
Yeah.
Took lessons to practice my scales. Everything. It's just like that whole thing about you can do whatever you want to do. Mm-hmm. Is not necessarily true. So
even in a loud music, or was it a loud rock punk band, but you got to have some chops, right?
You got to have some chops, and I couldn't get a chop together in my life. But I did find out that oftentimes people don't want to be the singer, So there was an opening available for that. But now in these recordings we're doing now, everybody sings, and it's a lot of fun to.
So you mean everyone has their own song, or is everyone everyone's harmonizing?
Sometimes harmonizing, sometimes singing different parts of the songs.
Excellent.
They're all singers.
How many?
And playing musicians.
How many people in the band?
6.
6. What are the instrumentations? Obviously the
keyboard, bass, guitar.
Another guitar, 2 guitars.
A couple guitars.
Yeah, there you go. That is loud.
Yeah. Oh.
And what do you sort of base your sound on? Who are your influences?
Oh God, it's because there's all the different guys in the band. You know what I mean? So
different personalities.
I love stuff like from the '70s blues-based rock. So
such as
like the Stones or
Faces.
The Faces, exactly. Yeah. The Beatles. How do you not get affected? But then it just goes through time. It's just like there's just so many influences. The Doors. God, who else? And then fast forward like the Black Crowes, and then bands like Radiohead, which are like a group. Driving force. Everybody in the band digs that stuff. So.
You have a melange of influences. It looks like.
Yeah, and that's why it's a process. But it's interesting. You know what I mean? To bring all this stuff together and to really give everybody, pun intended, a voice in it, because if one person ends up writing a song, then one person's writing a song. But when you got a bunch of people writing a song together, it's then you really are inviting either a train wreck or some real magic to happen.
Right.
Yeah.
And how do people go and find the Wrist Slitters? Where can they find your music?
Oh, yeah. Wrist Slitters. Right,
Wristslitters.com.
At the Wrist Slitters on Instagram.
All right. We'll make sure we put that up on the on the video here.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah. And so, in closing, because the last question I always ask is always something, sort of an interpersonal question, a little inside joke.
This is the part I've been waiting for.
So listen, let me ask you a
like
question.
A secret.
Where can we get a good cup of disdain around here?
You mean a hot, steaming cup of disdain?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you may, I'm going to ask you to sort of explain to the people that are watching what that means to us.
Well, it was coffee, but then it was just like, then to translate that over into like an emotion, like
I believe the way I remember it is we were at your place, and I think there's that coffee shop, Ford's Coffee Shop or something. What's the place at the Vortex?
Oh, Porter Street Junction.
Right.
Yeah, cafe.
And I got there and I said, hey, can we get coffee around here? And he go around the corner. And I brought it back, and we're all sitting around. And then you said, this is a wonderful cup of hot disdain, because you were in a foul mood for some strange reason. Something wasn't working. I think you weren't getting what you want when you wanted it.
It's so rare that I get into a foul mood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that became the joke.
Right.
Every time I came over. Right. I actually, the cup had the word disdain printed. I wrote that on. And so every time I came over, I'd say, hey, let's go get a cup of disdain.
Yeah. So that's what we refer to.
Right. Right on.
Hot steaming cup of disdain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But how we've grown since, right?
I still like a good cup of disdain.
Yeah. Okay. Well, listen, Jeff, I just want to say thank you so much for taking time in your busy schedule here at the Detritus Factory. What do you call this place?
This place?
Yeah.
The Boneyard.
The Boneyard.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna take a walk around and take some more B-roll video to show people your life here.
Boneyard, man. Yeah.
I want to thank you so much.
Peace.
Boom.
Love.
Thank you, man.
That picture right there, see the eyeballs, and those are a couple of noted. The guy that does the eyes is Vile, and then the other guy, what the hell is his name?
Let's go take a look.
I'm having a mental block.
It happens at our age.
No, I always forget this guy.
Did he tag it? He must have tagged it.
I don't know if you met James. Kyle.
Atlas. Here it is. This guy that does these tan cats is Atlas, and this guy that does these bubbles and stuff, that's Vile.